Hello there, race fans. We're bringing to you Zwift Duathlon League race number 4. A 35-minute bike and a 15-minute run. Get as far as you can in those time frames. Our bike is going to take place on the Greater London Flat. I decided to do some homework on this course and find out what it was going to be like to ride on. And as you can tell from the chart that I'm showing here, it has quite a bit of elevation change. Not so much as far as gradual overall elevation or going up, but just the undulations and a lot more so than the last 3 courses that I rode on. To tell you the truth, I got a little envious sitting on the starting grid for this one. Looking at the guys on their fancy bikes with their fancy wheels and their fancy frames, knowing that I had the bottom of the barrel stuff because I was a newbie in this game. But yeah, it kind of reminded me of when I first started racing. I was on my old little road bike and showing up against these guys with all these fancy tri bikes. But I beat some of those guys, and I'll beat some of these guys too. I got a pretty good warm up this time. I got some spinning in, and I did some hard efforts. So I thought my legs would be ready right off the bat going into this race. So with that being said, let's get at it. Okay, after the first minute into the race, my legs are feeling okay. I'm definitely benefiting by the hard effort warm-ups that I did, so I'm glad about that. I know there were some elevation changes coming, and I was looking forward to seeing how I would do with those. But early on, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling confident. I'm not getting swamped and falling back into the pack like I did the last race. So I'm going to hold on to this for as long as I can. I should be able to hold it throughout the race without falling back into the group. But it's going well. So from here, I'm going to speed up the video and get us towards the end of the bike ride. As you can see, for much of the last portion of the race, I was riding solo. Towards the end, at the very end, when the time was just about to run out, you can see that there were a couple of guys that were just ahead of me, so I was actually gaining on them, but I never really caught them. So at that point, it was just finish it off. A little bit uphill, so it tapped out my speed a little bit, but I made it through. Um, as you can see the elevation changes on my chart, you can see that I was able to get through it fairly well. So with that being said, on to the run. I changed my warm-up strategy for this run. Normally, I would just walk until it got close to the start of the race, and then I would get up to pace so that I can go out at the pace that I wanted to for the beginning of the run. This time, I decided to do some warm-up sprints where I would sprint up to my race pace and then back it back down and then walk a little bit and then sprint back up to my rate pace and then back it back down. I did about 3 of those before the start of this race. I wanted to make sure that my hamstrings were stretched out from coming from the bike into now the running position. So that's what I did because I knew I wanted to go out fast. I wanted to get up front and kind of get into my pace, my fast pace early on instead of waiting around for 5 minutes. So that was my strategy on this run, and you will see that bear out. So no trying to run my way into the top 10. I went out in the top 10. That was a goal of mine. I wasn't going to wait around for 5 minutes to try and work my way up front. I just wanted to get out there and I wanted to go. I knew if I got my pace up to a level that I wanted it to be at, that I would just try and hold on to that and maintain it and let it ease up to a faster pace as the race went on, instead of waiting around for 5 minutes to get to actually take off. This is one of the first races where I can actually see the leaders throughout the whole entire run. I never lost sight of them. I knew I would be able to work my way up further if I needed to be up further into the group. But at this point, it was just, okay, I'm in a good place. I'm feeling good. My legs don't feel tight. My hamstrings don't feel tight. Sprint ups I did early on as a warm-up are working. And now it's just keep yourself under control and let your speed take you where it's going to take you. As you can see, I worked my way up to 3rd place in the standings. This is actually a really good run for me. I felt great in it. My heart rate never really went into the red, so I'm happy about that. And I've run a little further in this race, or will finish a little further in this race than I did in my previous 3. And I'm happy about that. There's only one guy in my age group that runs as fast as I do. He's always just a little further ahead of me in each one of these last 3 runs. So I'm hoping to actually take at least that spot away from him. So it's been a great run. It's been a great duathlon. I'm looking forward to seeing what the results are and where it get me. Right now, I'm currently sitting in 3rd place in the overall age group standings. I'm hoping to creep up a little bit more onto 2nd place. So I'll see you after race 5. Have a good one.